All right, fellas, we've talked about quarterbacks and running backs to avoid in 2024 fantasy football drafts. But Mitch, what about wide receivers? Who are the three dudes out there that fantasy players should avoid this season?
There's actually a lot of receivers I love this year. I find myself in the mid rounds of mocks being like, I love all these guys. Give me all the receivers, and then I end up with one running back in the 9th round. But there are a few guys I'm staying away from. The top guy is a mid first round pick, the Minnesota Vikings. Justin Jefferson is on my do not draft list. Sam Darnold, Darren Hall, who's throwing the guy the ball? Like, I get he can get open for anybody, but without Kirk Cousins last year, he averaged just 6.5 receptions a game with 2 receiving touchdowns down the stretch. That's not top 5 player. That's not top 5 wide receiver production. I'm very scared that the quarterback play in Minnesota is going to hurt this year.
When would you take Justin Jefferson?
Probably at the end of the first round. But that's the thing. I would take him 7 to 10 picks after he's going. So I'm just not going to end up with him. It's not that he's a do not draft at any point in the draft. Yeah. I know I'm not going to get him where I value.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we don't know what's going on in Minnesota. Obviously, you mentioned the quarterback situation, but there could be a looming suspension for Jordan Addison. Maybe doubtful since the league hasn't announced anything yet. I mean, Aaron Jones should get some receptions out of the backfield. Hawkinson's out for the first few weeks. They may have to just force feed Justin Jefferson the ball.
Yeah. Well, that could go 2 ways too. Like, the other teams are probably going to double team him because they know that. But it's also Justin Jefferson. Like, if it's Sam Darnold just playing the first 6 weeks of the season to play it, like, maybe Jefferson will get 10 receptions a game because there's going to be no one else there. But there's just a lot of ways it can go wrong. And when you're drafting a guy top 5, that's kind of scary.
It's going to be funny when people convince themselves Sam Darnold can be the guy for Justin Jefferson because he did it for like a half in San Francisco last year.
I feel like 9 fan bases have convinced themselves that Sam Darnold is going to be the guy at this point.
Who do you got at your second wide receiver there, Mitch?
This one might be a little controversial. Nico Collins was incredible last year. 1,300 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns. He was a huge breakout in Houston. But I'm concerned on the repeat. It seems like another stereotypical kind of second-year bust or post-type bust. Stephon Diggs is in. He's going to be begging for his targets. We've seen him already yelling at the quarterback to get his targets. Tank Dell is going to be back from injury. Joe Mixon was one of the best receiving backs in the league last year, so that's another guy to take a couple touches. It's not that I don't think Collins is going to be a solid wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 there for them. I just don't think he's going to repeat the year he had last year. And when you're drafting a guy as a top 10 to top 15 receiver, you need him to get over 1,000 yards. You need him to get touchdowns, and there's just too many other mouths to feed in Houston.
Yeah, there's something special to me about Nico Collins because I love the fact that there's a Michigan and Ohio State connection working in the NFL. So I'm hopeful for Nico, but I'll take what you're saying with a grain of salt, as we say. Maybe Nico Collins in the 3rd round?
Yeah, I would probably do that. If he falls to you like 10 picks lower than his ADP, it's probably a good play. I just don't think he's going to be like some team is going to take Nico Collins in the fantasy league as their number 1 receiver this year, and I'm not going to do that.
All right, Mitch, let's wrap it up here. Who is your number 3 wide receiver to avoid in 2024 drafts?
Yeah, this is the guy who might be on my complete do not draft list. I don't see myself getting Malik Nabors on a single team this year. There's one thing about rookie receivers that kind of scares me in general, but rookie receivers with the New York Giants are a big do not draft. The Giants didn't have a single receiver with over 60 receptions last year. Darius Slayton led the team with like 750 receiving yards. They didn't have a single guy get over 4 touchdowns. Only 15 total touchdowns for receivers last year. That's basically as many as CeeDee Lamb had himself for an entire offense. I don't think there's much you can do with Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, whoever the heck else is going to be passing balls in New York. I will not be taking Malik Nabors, especially when he's like a top 25 receiver in drafts right now. That's a big do not touch for me.
If we see Tommy DeVito, it's going to be a horrible season for Nabors, even worse than what you think it's going to be.
Dude, we are 100% seeing Tommy DeVito this season. Bank on it.
This is a classic case, though, Mitch. Correct me if I'm wrong. Love the player, hate the situation.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to Rome Odunze. Like, I think Odunze's a better player, and I think he's going to be good this year, but Keenan Allen's there, DJ Moore's there. They have like 19 tight ends. It's just a lot of these rookie receivers got put in tough spots to break out year 1.
First and only time I want the Giants compared to the Bears. I don't know if you've watched Hard Knocks, Mitch, but the vibes at Bears camp are immaculate right now.
Yes, but the vibes at Jets camp last year in Hard Knocks also looked pretty good. So I don't know if I'm buying into the propaganda too much, but I get where you're coming from.
Also, a little nugget to keep in mind for rookie wide receivers: only 12 rookie wide receivers since 2014 have had 1,000 yards.
Wow, that's a good one. Another reason I will not be drafting Malik Nabors.